10% of every dollar you earn is yours to keep. Not yours to keep and spend, it's yours to keep and invest. So I feel like whether in business or an employee, just that's a good rule to put 10% minimum away to grow into other assets outside of your business. Because a lot of business owners reinvest back into their business, which is awesome, but can also be a problem that they're not building assets outside of their business.
Do not use the same bank account that is receiving money to use it as your spending money, your fund money, your investment money. It's a whole mess. You need to separate it. You need to dissect it. It's gonna be very visual and very easy for you to understand where money is going and where you might need to do some adjustments if you can visually see where the money is being distributed. Exactly as Daniel just said, have an income account. That's the account that is going to receive all the money, all your payments, everything going to that. You have an OPEX account. That's the money that is going to cover basically all your business expenses, your overheads, your team, your staff, equipment. And this one you can also dissect into more accounts.
If you look back over the last 10 years, how much money have you earned? And now how much have you got to show for it? Because that's the thing, all of the times out there, it's always, 10K a month, 50K a month, making $1 million. So they're always talking about making more money because it's sexy. But no one really talks about managing your money because it's not as sexy.
This is extremely important that you understand, because this is something that it took me many years to actually even implement, and is that.
Welcome to the Creative Grit, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs who are hungry to have more impact, make more money, and become successful in every area of life. I'm your host, Nelson, and your journey to mastering life and business begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Grit. Today, as usual, we have another incredible legend coming into the party that is gonna help us fix our leaks, our money leaks, which is one of my favorite topics as a business owner and entrepreneur myself. So today we have a financial coach in the podcast. Please welcome the incredible, the legend, Daniel Marshall. Welcome to the pod, man.
Nelson, thanks so much for having me here, man. And I'm a big fan of the accent as well. And I love this studio that you got set up here as well. Super, super impressed. So it's an honor to be here, and I can't wait to share some wisdom and some value with the audience. So let's do it, man.
Appreciate that. This is Vibes HQ. If you are just new to the podcast, this studio was an upgrade that we did just under 2 months ago. So it's been awesome just to have a newer space to play around, and we're still figuring things out of what it would look like for my specific podcast, but just more flexibility for clients in terms of what we can do for them and serve them at an even higher level. So you're from Adelaide.
I am, South Australia.
And you're a finance coach.
Yep.
What led you to be a finance coach?
Well, Nelson, it was in another lifetime, I was doing something completely different. So after I'm actually from a really small town called Whyalla, initially in South Australia, like 20,000 people, and it's known for its steel and mining industry. So after high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, but I was good at maths, and my parents are like, hey, do one of these engineering cadetships. It's like an apprenticeship, but for engineers. And I didn't know what else I wanted to do with my life. At that time when I was 18, I just wanted to party and drink, and I was playing heavy metal and stuff as well. So I kind of fell into this mechanical engineering cadetship, but I always knew it wasn't for me. And I always felt like in my career, there was a part of me missing. But I just didn't know what else I wanted to do with my life. So in my early 20s, I was just, partying, drinking, all of that kind of stuff, like going to music festivals, which I loved. But when I was 24, my mum, she gave me a book, and you might have heard of it. It's called The Barefoot Investor. Have you heard of that one?
I've read it, yeah.
You've read it. It's a great book. And up until this point in my life, Nelson, I'd never read a book cover to cover. But something about this book, it just grabbed me. And in that book is when I first learned about compound interest and the power of compound interest and investing in the stock market. And straight away, like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, oh, so this is one of the secrets to becoming financially successful. And from that moment, I discovered this passion for personal finance and for investing and for money. And I just started reading everything that I could on money and the stock market. And I started investing my own money in the stock market as well. And my love for reading all these books on money and my love for investing, it led me to personal development, because I was reading money books And it naturally led to reading books by people like Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. So the personal finance led into personal development. And when I was about 26, I started working with my first ever personal development coach, a fellow called Mike Campbell. Actually, he's up here on the Gold Coast, I'm pretty sure. And it just opened my mind to a whole new world in this coaching world. And I remember something that he shared with me. It was a quote that he said, "A rising tide raises all the ships." And it's something that I always still remember to this day, because once I started to work on myself, I noticed I didn't have to change anyone else around me, but I noticed how me changing myself raised everyone else around me as well. And it was powerful. And that's when I started to clue in on, hey, maybe this coaching thing could be for me. Because Nelson, people would always come to me for help in life in different areas. People would always seek out my, guidance and support. So I just started to lean into that curiosity, and I liked helping people. So when I was, 28 at this stage, still feeling empty in my engineering career, I started Googling at work. I was Googling coaching schools, and I found this one in Melbourne that just really resonated with me. Next thing you know, I sent an inquiry in. I was on a sales call with them a couple of weeks later, and I signed up to join the 3-year professional coaching program. And I went to Melbourne when I was 28, went through these matrix doors that they have at the building there, and my life completely changed. And from that moment, I kind of realized early on that I could combine my passion for personal finance with my passion for personal development and create my dream career, my dream business as a financial coach, speaker, and writer. So that's kind of like a helicopter view of how I got there.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the breakdown in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And what you said there about the rising tide elevates all boats.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. And if you're not gonna get better for yourself, you at least should do it for other people.
100%.
If you don't believe, that you're that important, just know that you can have a massive impact by simply being 1% better in your specific surrounding, environment, community. It truly is once you become fitter, healthier, smarter, wiser, get good with financials, you can have a massive impact for people around you. And it sometimes is difficult to measure. And until you have a moment where someone comes to you and tells you, hey, dude, thanks to you, my life is better.
Yeah.
Or you see someone at this point with my specific circumstance, growing a business that now is providing not only for me, but for my family and for quite a few people, a few dozens of people around me. Just to be able to be in that position of providing people and helping them even make their dreams come true, because a lot of that is providing a job for them. Dude, it is nothing more rewarding that I never thought earlier in my business owner, entrepreneur journey that was going to be one of the most rewarding aspects of it. Yes. And it all starts from you raising the tide and raising your standards, right?
100%.
So you being in the financial coaching space, and you basically have as one of your taglines, you help them fix leaks. What are the most common leaks that you see on people and businesses?
Oh, the most common leaks. I probably food. Food is a massive leak for people, because Uber Eats and groceries, and people just go to the shops all the time. So food is 100% one of the biggest leaks for sure. And the problem is most people just don't learn the skills of managing money and tracking money and stuff. So a lot of this work that I do, it's helping people just gain conscious awareness of their spending habits. And they realize damn, there's all this money coming out. I didn't even know this. I didn't even know the subscription was coming out. I didn't know I was spending this much money on Uber Eats each month. So it's just raising people's awareness initially, just through tracking, just the habits of tracking money and managing money. So food would probably be the biggest one, I reckon, that catches people out 100%.
Absolutely. And it's just one of those that it doesn't seem too much. Oh, it's just one coffee, and I just have it every day.
Yeah.
And then the groceries and not really keeping track. Oh, get that, get this. The subscriptions, I've found it's a massive one, man. It's so easy to overlook one.
Yes.
And suddenly you catch it 10 months later
Yeah.
and just realizing, holy shit, I spent, a few $100s just on that alone. And then it's not one thing.
Yep.
It's never one thing that kills the warrior, right? It's many wounds that happen all at the same time, and they've been compounding together.
It's like the death by 1,000 paper cuts, or a small leak sinks a big ship.
Exactly.
And subscriptions, actually, that's a big one in business. And I can fall into this trap myself because there's always new software out, and you're just like, I'm just going to try this subscription. I'll sign up for the yearly one as well just to save 20%. And you just get subscriptions after subscription after subscription. So in business, that can be a big killer as well, where there's money leaking out of a business.
What is a simple action that could solve that problem?
Well, I think, so I created something called my Fix Your Finance Challenge. It's a 21-day challenge. Actually, I'm running one coming up soon, which is going to be a 7-day challenge. But in that challenge, it's about building 5 core habits to help people fix their finances. And the core habit of that challenge is tracking your income and expenses for your personal finances and your business finances by hand every single day. So you're literally, like, when you're going to buy something, you're writing it down in your book. You're writing down what flows into your life. And just that, like I was saying before, it just raises your conscious awareness of what's coming in and what's going out, because most people just have no idea about it. They know money flows in, but where does it go? Because, let me ask the audience this right now. It's, if you look back over the last 10 years, how much money have you earned? And now how much have you got to show for it? Because that's the thing, a lot of the times out there, it's always, 10K a month, 50K a month, making $1 million. So they're always talking about making more money because it's sexy. But no one really talks about managing your money because it's not as sexy. But it's the most important skill that you must master if you want to become a financial success, because you can earn millions of dollars a year but still be spending millions of dollars a year. So yeah, that's why I'm really passionate about it, because it's not taught and it's the unsexy thing. But I want to make it sexy again, because it's the bridge to building wealth and freedom and choice. And that's what I'm all about. Money's just a tool, but it's a tool to help people live the life that they truly want to live and experience more freedom and experience more choice. And that's what really lights me up. It's not the money stuff. It's about helping people experience more of what they actually want in life.
And when you get that mindset and that perception of money just being a tool, that is also easy to get. That's the other thing. The more I've been progressing in my own journey, the more I realize money is fucking easy to get, and it's not hard to make a ton of it if you know where to position yourself. And it's literally always flowing. Money is flowing everywhere. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world. There's some money exchange being made as we speak, right? So it's always you being clever and understanding how money flows so that you can position yourself in between. And you can get wet with it, essentially.
Exactly. I like that you shared that, actually, and get wet, because it's like it's a good metaphor, actually, because with the rain doesn't care if you're black or white, what language you speak. You're going to get wet if you go in the rain. And the money is true as well. So money doesn't care if you're black, if you're white, if you're tall, small, skinny, male, female. It doesn't care. But if you imagine you're a metaphorical bucket and there's a lid on it. Now, most people's lid is closed. So the rain's pouring down or the money's pouring down, but because their metaphorical lid is closed, the money just flows into someone else's bucket. And that's another big part of it. With the making money side of things, we've got to be, giving value and service, but we've also got to be open and willing to receive, because I know I've coached and mentored a lot of people as well, and they can give lots of value, but then be really shut off from actually receiving. That's a big challenge that I've experienced myself in the past, and a lot of other people do as well. So, even when someone gives you a compliment, how quick are people to quickly deflect back and say, thank you, love your hair as well, or love your clothes, rather than just sitting there and receiving it and saying, thank you. And that's how we can actually build our receiving muscle, because that's a big part of, the making money side of the equation too.
You recently made a post I saw where you were being super vulnerable with your own money circumstances. Can you talk about it and explain as well, by being a financial coach and just putting yourself in that position where you're being so open? Why did you decide to do that?
I feel like it's really important to show the ups and the downs of the business and entrepreneurial journey, because yeah, success isn't just a straight line. And a lot of times we always want to put our best sides out there on social media and, pump our tires up as well. But I think it's important to show the other side as well. And there's nothing wrong with the other side, because they're the moments that you look back on in the future and realize, man, that was meaningful, when I was in the battlefield, in the trenches. So what I shared the other day, Nelson, was last month I was in America, and, for the month, there was only a few $1,000s came in from the business. And my business expenses were more than that for the month. So it's a minus right there. Then in my personal finances, only a few thousand came in, and there was like 9,000 going out. So for the month, it was like a negative $7,000 month. And I was kind of, just opening myself up there, because, hey, I'm a financial coach. I'm meant to have my money shit sorted, aren't I? And I was very vulnerable in this first post that I did, and it got a lot of engagement, And one of my clients actually messaged me the next day, and she's like, Marshy, loved your post, but here I am kind of thinking we're paying Marshy all this money to work with him, and he doesn't have his money shit sorted. And it was a really good comment, and it sparked the follow-up post that I did afterwards. And that's where I kind of explained, with money mechanics that I talk about, there's making money, managing money, and multiplying money. Now, what I was talking about in the first vulnerable post was the making money side of the equation. So in that month, there wasn't much coming in. But the thing is, in the coaching that I do, I'm really focusing on number 2, the managing money, and then the multiplying money. And I showed that, hey, I've got nearly $1 million in assets, and that's because of my skills in managing money and multiplying money. So number 2 and 3. And I kind of shared that number 1, making money, it's easy to get a job and make some money. But when you're in business, there's new skills that you've got to learn. You've got to learn sales, marketing, all these other ones. So over the last 5 years, Nelson, I've been investing in my skill set in sales, marketing, speaking, coaching, podcasting, writing newsletters. And sometimes the income doesn't always directly follow the skill set. There's a lag. And I didn't want to play the game of just going back and getting a job and taking the easy route. I wanted to build the skill set so that I can improve area number 1 of making money. But the thing that I wanted to highlight was I've still got gaps to fill in that area, but I'm a master at managing money, and that's where I help my clients. Because most of the people that work with me, Nelson, great at making money. They bring all this money in, but they're not so good at keeping it and then putting it to work for them. So that's really the problem that I solve, helping people build structure around their money so that they can keep more of what they've got to put towards their goals.
And it's not what you make, it's what you keep.
100%.
A lot of people out there as well, they're very quick to just say, I'm making X amount of money, I'm making this.